My name is DevChooks, and we're back to the next video I told you about in the tax key project. Today we're going to be making sure that we'll be able to drag these cards around. So I should be able to drag, for instance, Pepe to the top, though it's going to fly back to where it was originally, but at least we'll be able to drag it. All right, now we're going to be using, I think I can close this for now. Yeah. So we're going to be using a library for this. So if we go to the package.json, we have this library, hello pangea / drag and drop, DND, basically, but it's not do not disturb in this case. So it's basically DND, hello pangea. So let's import that and let's get started. So I'm going to import curly brackets from hello at good. So now we're going to need three things. All right, the first one is the drag drop context, which is like the context that takes in everything about this drag and drop. You can actually just go to the app.js and wrap your entire components, your entire app in this drag drop context. But I don't think I'm going to be using this drag drop context in any other place in this app for now. If I think that I'm going to use it somewhere else, then I can just take it to the app.js, but I don't think I'm going to be using it anywhere else. So probably I can just leave it right here. Next thing we want to do is the draggable. And draggable simply means components you can drag, all right? And then droppable. Droppable simply means components you can drop on, all right? So when I'm dragging, components where I can drop on is droppable. Then components I can even drag at all is called draggable. Later on, you're going to find out that draggable components can also be droppable. It's a bit complex, right? Yeah, but let's get started. So in the page container where I have all of this, just like all of this action going up here, I'm just going to put my drag drop context. Drag drop context. So I'm just going to wrap everything drag drop context. And drag drop context takes in a couple of arguments, including direction and all of that. But for now, I'm just going to take in the one called on drag end. All right. On drag end, and on drag end, I just want to log console.log something just moved. Let's leave it like that. So something moved. Something moved. All right. Or dragging just occurred. It doesn't really matter. Basically, whenever we see this, we know that something has happened. All right. Now, that doesn't make any difference because right now we can't still drag anything. I'm going to open my logs so that you really understand what's really happening. So logs open. Next thing we want to do is that for this one, we're just going to be working on the individual cards. All right, we're just going to be working on the individual groups. We're not going to work on dragging between groups right now. So let's just work on dragging within a particular group. So because of that, I'm going to take my droppable right here. So where we have tax group, that's where I'm going to take my droppable. So let's go. I'm going to say droppable, because that's the component where we're dropping on. So droppable, I'm going to wrap all of this. So where does this end? Yeah, I'm going to wrap all of this in droppable. Of course, I'm going to move the key from this component to the outermost component, which is now the droppable. Now, droppable also takes in a a prop called droppable ID. And now this droppable ID, we want it to be unique. So we're going to say, let it be the group dot ID. Very important. All right. I'm going to save. Now, if I save this like I've done, when I go to my code, there'll be an error. And now the error is that children is not a function. What that means is that droppable takes in a function, not a component like the way we have just done. So basically, let's make that a function. So I'm going to put a curly bracket here, create an arrow function, and it's basically going to return this. So I'm just going to cut it and paste it here. Yes, so it's just going to take in a function like this. All right, very, very simple, like this. So looking at this now, we don't have any errors. Neither is anything moving yet, but you can see that that's like, at least the error is no longer there. So this takes in something called provided. If you want, you can name it anything, but I like to call it provided. So this provided, we're going to use it for this. So somewhere here, we want to pass in something called a provided dot placeholder. All right, provided dot placeholder. I'm going to explain what that does later. Now, next thing we want to do is that we want to give this div here like some properties. The first property we're going to give it is, let's pass in all the props. So I'm going to do dot 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 provided provided dot droppable props. All right, I froze a bit there. And then the ref, we're going to say provided dot inner ref. All right, so this is like where we have to stop for this video, because it's a little bit complex and I don't want to rush it because you need to really understand this. So take note, the drag drop context takes in everything that has to do with dragging or dropping or anything. You can wrap it in your entire app, like I said. Then the droppable is where you can drop any component that allows you to drop is droppable. Then draggable is where any component that allows dragging, all right, or any component you as the developer wants to be able to drag. Then remember, both droppable and draggable don't take in components, regular components. They take in functions. So to do that, you just put in an arrow function and that should be fine. It takes in some props too, like droppable ID dot provided droppable props and provided inner ref. See you guys in the next video. My name is DevChooks.